What's going on, gentlemen? This is your host, Captain Commish here, for the first official Commissioner's Corner episode. Week 1 is upon us. Here we go. It's what we've been waiting for. I'm super excited to get this show on the road. I've been mega busy, I feel like, and this weekend's going to be no different. So, sorry about the absolute last second video pull-up. That being said, it's week 1. There's been no regular season football yet, obviously. So it's pretty hard for me to be like, these are my power rankings. I'm not going to do that this year. Especially now that I was reminded of the Fantasy Pros that does a relatively good job for you. I mean, it does a lot of different rankings in there. So I'm honestly going to talk about that more than anything. But without further ado, let's get into it. Also regarding confiding with the commissioner, the champ, the current champ, Jacob Snow Bunnies, will be the first guest on appearance, and then I will proceed to spin the wheel of death. And if it is a problem like someone like Jared, obviously I don't expect him to drive 2.5 hours up here, but we'll figure it out via I don't know. We tried Discord. That's giving me problems, but maybe we could try like Skype or something. I've heard is a possibility we could use, or maybe even Twitch. I don't know. We'll figure it out if the wheel lands on somebody that travel could be a little pain in the butt. But, yep, that's going to be for either next week or the week after. But, yeah, again, the first week stuff, it's super hard. But first things first, gentlemen, we had a crazy draft day. We got to talk about how great that draft day was. Everybody looked sharp. Boys looked goddamn sharp. I loved it. I had a great time. Hit some sick, nasty bets on the UFC fight. Shout out Kai Kara France, baby, with them mitts. So shout out him. Won me 850 fat boys, I think. Maybe 800. It was whatever. It was a big bet though. Very stoked on that. But aside from that, the draft was awesome. Had some fresh blood, some newcomers. Welcome, Team Swift Swallows. Michael. I know I call him Mike E. And then we got we're going to figure it out. Maybe I'll call him Kelly. I know we've talked about it a little bit, but regardless. We got welcome Swift Swallows and welcome, is it Marvin's cousin, right? Is that what it is? Or your cousin Marvin? I don't. All right, Jared. So, welcome you guys. But first things first, we got to talk about them walkouts. Them walkouts was hot fire. So, put down a little montage, if you will, of them. Something fun, something that I had really no experience doing, so it was a little bit off, a little more than I could chew. But came out pretty decent, so without further ado. does it, boys? So yeah, that was pretty fun. It was kind of cool, like getting to look at all the photos and put that together was pretty cool. We have a lot more where that came from. I just wanted you guys to see it in the video first. I've had a couple people be like, "Oh, yo, let me get those pics," but sorry on the delay of that, fellas. I had to get the video together and it took me a little while. But I do want to say one thing. Dude, at first, when your cousin Marvin joined, he was the only guy without an iPhone. Really put a damper on things. But honestly, the Sleeper app chat is more than sufficient. So I don't even know if we're going to ever use that TCC chat again because why not just use this? But to be honest, the league hasn't even started. And Homie is the most active guy in the chats. He's probably added and dropped 8 players already in the waivers. He's been part of 2 trades already. I gotta say, I don't know if I'm impressed or he's just doing too much. You know what I'm saying? The other newcomer, I had a little something to say to him. He was like, "Hey, maybe you should watch the guys play before you wheel and deal so much." But Jared's sticking to his guns. Your cousin Marvin is sticking to his guns, and you gotta respect it. You gotta respect the game. That being said, he's fantasy pros ain't got him high, ain't got the boy high. But we did switch to Dynasty this year, as you guys know. Not quite Dynasty, a pseudo keeper league. So I mean, there's a lot of different dynamics, a lot of different factors going into this shit this year, fellas. Who knows? I mean, the guy could be playing straightforward chess. I believe somebody also said that in the chat. This chat's been so active, I don't even want to scroll and look all that stuff up. But yeah, so shouts out your cousin Marvin. I don't know why I can't remember that. I'm gonna have to get used to all the names. We had a couple name changes. That'll just come with time. We'll get there, fellas. We'll get there. But yeah, your cousin Marvin, impressive start. Hats off to you, sir. So let's talk about those trades. We talked about him being involved in some trades. He already moved a draft pick. Interesting enough. I think I got that one up on the old cellular device. Yes. So your cousin Marvin traded with Alan Degenerates. The haul was this. The haul was Jartasm receives. That is one thing. Let me pause for a second. That is one thing that's annoying with Sleeper. Sometimes you see their name they set up Sleeper with, and sometimes you see their their team name, and then sometimes I use your guys' real name. So it's like it's gonna be I assume nobody really watches this, but the team. So whatever. You guys know who I'm talking about. So anyway, Christian Watson, Jartasm / your cousin Marvin / Jared received, and sent over to receive that player, he sent Gabe Davis, sent Tyler Algier, and a 2025 7th round pick. Big haul. That's big faith that one of the 3 Packers wide receivers is going to be the breakout guy. I mean, I get it. Watson had that crazy rookie year. It was like 7 touchdowns in 4 games or something. Hasn't really been healthy since, though. So it's a big risk, big haul. He didn't exactly lose a lot, except that that draft pick kind of hurts, especially if you plan on keeping 3 guys this year. So that was pretty interesting, I thought. Also, we have one right now involving Jared as well, as I said before, where we got Brody 6 Soccer, a.k.a. Team Coys, receiving Nick Chubb, and your cousin Marvin / Jartasm / Jared receiving Devin Singletary. That one's a straight-up 1-for-1. I kind of like to see those sometimes. Simple, clean, easy. Doesn't make the league think too hard. I respect it. It passed the vetoes. I don't see why in any world why it wouldn't, but so there you go. We haven't even seen a single snap of football, and this guy has made more trades than most teams last season made. So, again, shout out Jared. the other new member, taking a little slower approach. I believe he's made a move or two in the waivers, but nothing insane. Just kind of waiting, kind of like the rest of us on see what the fellas do, see what the boys can do. But so yeah, shouts out the new boys, shouts out the fresh blood. So let's get into this Fantasy Pros because this is my first time ever really using it. Neat. That's all I got to say. Very nice. If just to read off the draft rankings where they had us, they had Snow Bunnies, our current champion, taking the cake in first place, tied for first place with Love Hurts. Both got 100 scores, so kudos to you boys. I believe they gave Snow Bunnies, they said he had the second best flex, the third best wide receiver, fourth super flex, the second best starters, and the third bench. So pretty solid. His downfalls were the tight end at 11th and a kicker at 9th. The tight end kind of can hurt, I guess, maybe, but kicker, I mean, I guarantee you'll have 5 to 6 different kickers start for your team, So, oh well. And then to Love Hurts. Love Hurts, on the other hand, has the best defense, the second best quarterbacks, the third best super flex, the third best kicker, the fourth best running backs, the first best starters, they got him, and the fifth best bench with the eighth best tight end. His weak points being his wide receivers coming in at 10th and his flex coming in at 9th. So pretty little interesting there. Followed by in third place, Touch of Downs. He got a 99 score. Running behind him is newcomer Swift Swallows with a 95, followed by Coys with a 95, so pretty much tied. Followed by yours truly, Captain Commish, with a 94. Then Middleburg Football Team with a 93. We got Baked Vet with 87. Allen Degenerates with an 85. Half Chub with an 85. Our last place finisher last season. Your cousin Marvin, new blood, coming in at 82. And rounding us off in 12th place, we got Team Riggy Riggs at 80. And I will look at Team Riggy Riggs, what it says that he's got for positional rankings, and he has the best kicker in the league. Funny enough, I remember Riggy Riggs reaching pretty early for Justin Tucker last year. So if there's one thing we know about Riggy Riggs is the boy likes a solid kicker. It's what he likes. That's his draft strategy. He goes in. You guys are talking about, hey, do we go here running back? Do we go, do we lay on the quarterbacks thick? John's thinking ahead already. He's like, yeah, but what about the kicker, though? So that's his strat. He's got the best kicker. They gave him the second best tight end. They gave him the third best defense. Fifth flex, seventh quarterbacks, ninth super flex, 10th running backs, 11th wide receiver, the worst starters at 12th, and 9th at bench. So those are just the draft rankings. They also got us some week 1 rankings. I don't know. I guess maybe they're adding in like matchups and whatnot, which I guess is kind of neat. This information's kind of like how they gave a score out of 100. I'll give you the info, fellas. We got Touch of Downs. They think is going to has the best matchup week. They gave him a score of 100. It's unfortunate for me. They gave me 5th, but so Touch of Downs got me according to Fantasy Pros. So it goes like this. It goes Touch of Downs. 2, we got Middleburg Football Team. 3, Love Hurts. 4, Swift Swallows. 5, Captain Commish. 6, Snow Bunnies. 7, Allen's Degenerates. 8, Big Vet. 9, Coys. 10, Half Chub. 11, Riggy Riggs. And 12, Your Cousin Marvin. So those are just the week ratings. I would take those very much with a grain of salt. Then you got your dynasty rankings. Now, this is where it's pretty interesting. I'm assuming they're adding factor of like age and maybe just like how good the team they're on. It could be a couple different things. I don't know how they really do dynasty rankings for like how a team's going to look in the future, because considering how much the team's going to change. But they gave it a shot, and they got Snow Bunnies, our active champ, pretty well above, pretty good commanding lead with 100 score. I mean, he's in the green on everything. Starters. I mean, he's got starters, wide receiver, flex, quarterback, and super flex, all in top 3 of the league for Dynasty, with the only weakness being his running backs at 10. And then rounding us off, we got Riggy Riggs at 58. Not looking great there. Baked Vet following pretty closely behind him. Then we got Swift Swallows, actually pretty close to Baked Vet. And then you got a bunch of middles from score of 81 to 87. Myself being in 5th place at 87. Love Hurts, 87. Touch of Downs, 85. Your Cousin Marvin, 83. Coy's, 81. Then Middleburg football team at 4th with a 90. Half Chubb at 93. And Allen's Degenerates at a 96 for the Dynasty rankings. Very interesting stuff. I mean, again, it's week 1. We could all pretend we know what the hell's going on. We don't know what's going on. We haven't seen a lick of regular season foosball yet. But that doesn't stop the excitement, boys. That does not stop the excitement. So without further ado, I'm going to get into my weekly predictions. Last year, I whooped the hell out of y'all in predictions. Shouts out Captain Commish. This year is going to be even more fun because we have 6 matchups a week instead of 5, maybe making there a little more of a predictive difference between myself and whoever comes on confiding with the commissioner. So without further ado, my first matchup between Snow Bunnies and Baked Vet. Let's click this pup. Let's get in here right here. So we got Snow Bunnies, who's got a very strong team, against Baked Vet, who, Fantasy Pros ain't in love with the team. However, if his quarterbacks stay healthy, I think that team's solid. Real talk. The Kirk Cousins and Matt Stafford, I mean, they got a combined age of like 59 years old at this. They're old boys. But his skill positions are pretty fire. It does stink to hear for you about the Kyren Williams news, but you got Kyren Williams, he's going to be return punch. Maybe he gets you, maybe he brings one to the house for you. But all jokes aside, I'm sure he'll still get, at least in the beginning of the season, his 15 touches or so. Then you got A-Chain, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown. I mean, can't complain about those skills. The skill position. Njoku, who had a fire year last year. Keenan Allen had a fire year. I know because I had him. He crushed it for me last year. But who knows what this Bears offense with a rookie quarterback is going to be. You got 3 guys splitting touches. Kind of scary. I feel the same way about the Bears wide receivers as I do about the Texans wide receivers, just a little bit worse. So Keenan Allen, age is a factor. He's slowing down. Still a magician with footwork. He's still a great route runner. We'll see. I mean, you don't want to sleep on him because he crushed it for me last year. They were saying the same thing about him last year. So you got Keenan Allen. So great skill positions going there. And that's running up against Snow Bunnies. We got C.J. Stroud, Josh Jacobs, James Conner, Jamar Chase, Drake London, Brock Bowers, Metcalf, Jaden Daniels, and Chiefs D is Steve had Seahawks D. Who cares about the kickers, honestly? Consider taking those guys out, honestly, next year. But, hey, just a joke if you hate it. Maybe we can vote on it. I don't know. You know what? Week 1, give me Baked Vet. Give me Baked Vet. I know, that's bold, but I think if Snow Bunnies, I think is going to be strong this year. I think he's going to have a really good season, but I think it's going to start out a wee bit rocky. But I think he's going to be really strong towards the back end. Next up, we got Middleburg football team versus Your Cousin Marvin. Middleburg football team housing Trevor Lawrence, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, Garrett Wilson, Tank Dell, Kincaid, Higgins, Daniel Jones, and Dallas defense. I am indifferent about this team. Obviously, I like the tight end. Obviously, I like McCaffrey. Not super huge on Jonathan Taylor. I don't think he's going to be terrible. I just if you have Jonathan Taylor where you got him at, I don't love it. I don't love it. Let a lot of people down last year. Um, that's just my opinion. Could be wrong. Garrett Wilson, if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, who knows? I'm excited for Jets fans if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy to see what this guy could do with a halfway decent quarterback. So that could be fun. Already spoke about the Texans wide receivers, Tank Dell being my least favorite of the three. Not huge on that. Daniel Jones against Minnesota. You know how Daniel Jones plays against Minnesota. He's going to be all right. I'm okay with that. And then on the other side of your cousin Marvin, you got AR-15, Pacheco, Javonte Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., DJ Moore, Laporta, Zay Flowers, Jacoby Brissett. Starting is Captain Insano, and Captain Insano shows no mercy. Give me Middleburg football team. Next up, we got Allen Degenerates versus Swift Swallows. The dudes who ran in together, the Middleburg boys holding it down, the Pizza Boys. This is Mario versus Luigi right here. This is what everybody wants to see. It's the new confident Swift Swallows coming in against a guy with something to prove in Allen Degenerates. He didn't make playoffs, but his team was powerful. This is an interesting one to me. So, on Swift Swallows, we got Tua Tagovailoa, we got Saquon Barkley, we got Najee Harris, we got Tyreek Hill, we got Cooper Kupp, Evan Ingram, Rashee Rice, Jared Goff, and Cleveland defense. I like your wide receivers. I like Saquon Barkley if he stays healthy. Tua if he stays healthy. Obviously I do like Goff and I like Evan Ingram. I like Rice. Your wide receivers are very good starting, but boy, oh boy, if Saquon gets hurt, which I've seen my fair share of times, I've seen that boy go down. I've seen him miss seasons. I've seen him go, miss 2 games here, miss 2 games there. And it's just your running backs, my boy, are not strong enough to carry you through that if that happens to you. So that is scary. Keep your fingers and toes crossed because you're going to need Lady Luck because Saquon likes to get hurt. And that's not me being salty. Don't come at me. Check the film, baby. Check the film. You'll see it. Against Allen Degenerates, we got Caleb Williams, Bijan Robinson, Kenneth Walker, Justin Jefferson, Malik Neighbors, Trey McBride, Kirk, Rogers, Fairbairn, I was kicker, don't care, and Tampa. So, Al's team, I like. My nitpick on that will be his quarterbacks are doo-doo. Now, I say that fully knowing that if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, there's no doubt in my mind he doesn't finish top 10. He'll finish, I don't think top 5, but he'll be in that 5 to 10 range, which is awesome. That right there would help boost Al's team up because other than that, you're relying on a rookie quarterback and Russell Wilson. So you also need to cross your fingers. I just don't think as hard as Swift Swallows needs to. Give me Allen's Degenerates. Following that, we have Half Chubb versus Love Hurts. Half Chubb being the man, the myth, the legend, who will be in last place. Waiting on those calendars. I know you gave the info on the payments. If you want to reshoot that to me so I could throw it in the court so people know what it is, because I'm sure you're going to want that pretty soon because, you already showed you had a couple of the photos already done. So, very excited to see that. So, Half Chubb squad is Herbert, Breece Hall, Kamara, Amon St. Brown, Brandon Ayuk, Schultz, Odunze, Will Levis, and Pittsburgh defense. This team is another one where, oh boy, I hope your quarterbacks work out for you. Herbert has nobody to throw to, but rookie Ladd McConkey and Palmer. I would not want that. And no matter how generational he is, I don't know how well that will work. And other than that, you have Will Levis, which, sometimes I hear quite a bit of hype around Will Levis. As someone who had him last year for at least a little bit, I believe. Uh, I don't think he was all that impressive. I don't think I kept him on my roster, if that lets you know anything. But that's what you got. You got what you work with. You also have Bryce Young, so maybe Bryce Young starts throwing that thing, baby. Uh, love your running backs. I know you got Kamara pretty late, so he was a steal. Love what we got, Ayuk, St. Brown, and Odunze. I love St. Brown. I will say that. Following that, we have Love Hurts, who he's versing. On his roster, he holds Jalen Hurts, Jahmyr Gibbs, Swift, Nico Collins, Michael Pittman, George Kittle, Calvin Ridley, Jordan Love, and Baltimore defense. This team is solid. I'm happy for the boy. Obviously, quarterbacks looks pretty strong. By pretty strong, I mean really strong. Running backs, I'm not terribly high on his running backs. That's just me. I know Gibbs had great production out of minimal snaps. Congratulations. Can he reproduce that? Montgomery's still on the team. Montgomery's still going to get not the majority touches, I don't believe, but he's going to be getting probably 40%. I don't know if I love that, especially when you draft them as high. But hey, what he showed, it's kind of the same, similar deal as A-Chain. So that's, just my opinion. Swift had a couple down years. I think he's going. I kind of like Swift this year. You got Pittman, who I like. Nico Collins, who is my favorite Texans receiver currently, so I like. And Calvin Ridley, whom I don't really like. For some reason, every year everyone's like Calvin Ridley, look crazy hype. Not me. I mean, I recognize he's good. He's good, but that's about like where I'm at with him. You know what I mean? Kittle, I like. But yeah, so there you go. I can't. What I nitpicked is what I nitpicked. Who do I got in this one? This is a tough one for me, boys. You know what? Give me Half Chubb. Give me Half Chubb. He's gonna start the season dubbed out. Give me Half Chubb. Then we got Coy's versus Team Reggie Riggs. Coy's team: Lamar Jackson, Mixon, Singletary, Puka Nacua, Chris Olave, Ferguson, Mari Cooper, Brock Purdy, and Bengals D. Versing Riggy Riggs' Joe Burrow, Henry, Aaron Jones, Deebo Samuel, Stephon Diggs, Kelsey, McLaurin, Watson, Tucker, 49ers defense. Here's what okay. So the only thing that really sticks out to me about Riggy Riggs' team is that he's got Joe Burrow. This year, I've been quite vocal about that. I'm not huge on Joe Burrow. I know the reports say he's looking okay. Wrist surgery on your throwing arm just doesn't appeal to me personally as a fantasy owner. But I like your running backs. I like your wide receivers enough. I like, obviously, Kelsey. McLaurin, I think, is going to have a better year than people think he's going to have. And I do think Watson's going to be better than last year. Now, on the other hand, Brody's team, running backs are leaving a lot to be desired. Let's be honest. Even with Singletary being the number one over at the Giants, I really do think we're gonna, as the season progresses, going to see a running back by committee between Tyrone Tracy and Eric Gray. Not the same. Singletary doesn't have an awesome season still with limited touches. Because he's still a dog, but, with Joe Mixon being your only, your other guy, I just can't say I love it. But you also have Montgomery on the bench, who we discussed is going to get touches. So we could see maybe, Montgomery has a stellar season again. Then you'll be looking all right. Olave, Nacua, not super huge on your wide receivers. They're not terrible at all. They're just, I don't know how to say. It's just, I don't want to say mid because they're better than mid, but they're just not something that I would see and say, wowzers, I gotta go Coys on this because I do think Singletary's going to have a big week 1. I think that's going to push him. Give me Coys. Rounding us off, we have Captain Commish versus Touch of Downs. The man who was the runner-up of the championship versus the third-place finisher last year. My team is as follows: Josh Allen, Travis Etienne, James Cook, Mike Evans, George Pickens, Mark Andrews, Tony Pollard, Dak Prescott, Giants D, because I do believe they're going to pound Minnesota into the ground. That's not me being a homer. I will probably drop them as soon as this week is over. Yes. Touchdowns team is Patty Mahomes, White, Stevenson, Adams, Waddle, Otten, Devonta Smith, Kyler Murray, and Buffalo defense. To nitpick my own team, it's obviously the wide receivers. Mike Evans and George Pickens, I don't love. I love Mike Evans. I love that pick, but George Pickens, hopefully he becomes the guy in Pittsburgh. If that's the case, thumbs up here. I'm very happy. I just don't have full optimism. Tony Pollard, I'm pretty decent on. I think I have the best running backs in the league, regardless of what Fantasy Pros say. I just think I have a lot of studs. Etienne, Cook, Pollard, Zeke Elliott on the bench. I think those are 4 great starters. Obviously, Josh Allen's good. But, yeah, my nitpick on my team would be my receivers for sure. Now, Dreamweaver's team over here, obviously quarterback's good. Running backs scream mid to me. I think Rachaad White was a product of a lot of production. A lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of, I don't know why I'm blanking so hard on it. Like a lot of carries, like a lot of whatever, dude. I can't think of the words on the tip of my tongue. A lot of carries, but not a lot of production. I know I totally butchered that. Sorry, guys. What I'm trying to say is I don't think he's that good. I think he just got a lot of opportunities. That's the word I was looking for. A lot of opportunity, not a lot of production. There you go. Stevenson, kind of same thing last year. So then you go to the receivers. Adams, Waddle, sure, they're good. Smith, good. Again, kind of like what I said about Coys. They're better than mid, but they're not like wowzer in me, you know what I mean? So I got to give this to me. Give me Captain Commish on that. So there you have it, boys. Those are my predictions. Let's everybody have a good week. First week, it's exciting. If you guys stop over to my Spotted Sunday, Mariah's cooking sliders. She's doing it big, so you're welcome to stop by, and hope everybody has a good fantasy football season. This is your commissioner signing off.